All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Acting and Filmmaking Challenge Season 1, Day 4. We've discussed about the pre-production in our last class, and we talked about the script, the script down to storyboard down to hiring of cast, and cast down to location, and location to scheduling, and scheduling to budgeting, and budgeting to rehearsals. And that was all about the pre-production. And today we are entering the next stage of it, which is the production. The production has to do with the filming proper. I'm not just going to waste a lot of time in this class. I just have to keep it very brief as possible. Now, what happens and what you need to do during the filming process to ensure that you have a good production is this. First, you need the actors, understand? When you get on set, you try as much as possible to make sure that your actors do one-time blocking or one-time rehearsals on set to just get acquainted with a lot of things. Don't just go in a hurry. Oh, they have done rehearsals since, so now we are on set. Let's just start shooting. Just allow them do it one more time or two, and then you can start. I get me. Just allow them do it one more time, because the truth is they need to get the energy back on. Because if you just tell them you go on set, let's start shooting. A lot of people possibly they get on set, they must have been mentally drained or something, or they are emotionally. So once they get on set, on that first take, they might not give you their best. They might just do something that's not really. So you have to now get them mentally ready. Understand? After the first, you tell them to just dry run, just do their stuff. And once they do it, you'll be able to know, you give them the positive drive for them to get back on. And then you can start shooting from the second take, which is very important. I really advise you do this. I really advise you do this. It's really going to help your performance. Because if you just go ahead and once you mount the equipment, everybody starts shooting immediately, there'll be a lot of issues in your production, because that first move might not actually be the best, because a lot of people are just coming through a lot of things, especially if you're shooting on a low budget and people have to come from their different homes to on your set. Let's say you didn't have money for them to camp and they are coming from their different places. They must have encountered a lot of things on their road down to that set, and tell them to be tired, the person already tired, and once you see action, they're already doing something else. Even if you're camping them and they have to come from their hotel down to your location to shoot, and at the end of the day, when they get there, they must have also been tired, or some certain things must have happened. They must have had one or two issues with one person or the other, and you just have to talk to them and give them that positive vibe to start all over again. Are we together? So allow them to do the first take, and then you can start from the second, which is very important. Now, another thing you need to look out for, it's always make sure that you're always with the cinematography, the cinematographer, which is very important, especially if you're a director or whatever, or a producer, whatever. Just make sure that you look out for what the cinematographer is doing, because it's not just about you going on and you're shouting. Your problem is not just the actors. I'm just trying to talk to the directors now. The problem is not just the actors. It's not the actors that is your under. Look, a director comes on set. The work of a director is all angle of filmmaking. That when you go on set is you're to direct the makeup artist, you're to direct the cinematographer, you're to direct the lights person, you're to direct every person. Actor is just one part of filmmaking, not the entire part of filmmaking. So once you're on set, you're cast about the shoot, you've given all your instruction, you have to go back to the cinematographer and see what they're doing and see the kind of frame they are doing, because most times they can be telling you, we are already there, we are shooting and all that. And possibly the camera is jerking or something. And at the end of the day, you just discover that maybe when the production is over, that you just wasted your time doing something that most of the shots you didn't really get a proper angle. So it's always good you go back and review the footage of every scene then before you start the next scene. If maybe you can't be sticking with the cinematographer all through. Review every scene before you go over to the next scene, or possibly always be with the cinematographer so that you know the shot, the angles is taking. Are we together? And make sure that it's following the instruction that you gave. It's very important, because most cinematographers have their way of just blowing out of instructions. So that is it. So the next thing you need to look out for when it comes to the production, which is the filming, is the sound recording. The sound recording is very important. I've seen a lot of good production being ruined by bad sounds, because the truth is, you have a sound person there and is busy hitting the mic up and down. You will not know, because the heat of the production is already there. Now, and you're not taking note of it. But when you're done with the production, you now discover that there's some sound he did not even record. There are some that was recorded and the sounds were bad. Or there are some places he did not even record sounds. At the end of the day, a lot of casts they have gone, and you just have to just improvise and all that. Look, always make sure that the sound recording is in order, that the sound is properly checked, and every recording is properly. Look, after every scene, make sure you check out the recording, the sound, you check out the cinematography and all that. It's not just the cinematography we focus on. You have to check out the sound. Understand? To be sure that, oh, they got the sound correctly, the audio was nice, everything was perfect. Then you go over to everything is perfect. Then before you move over to the next scene. So that you will not finish your whole production and discover there was no audio. It has happened a lot and a lot of times. A lot and a lot of times. It's not once, not twice. At the end of the day, discover that most of the shots when there was no audio, the audio was kind of very bad. So that is your job when you want to make a film. It's very important you take note of all those things. There are lots and a lot I'm supposed to list out, but because of the purpose of this class and some restriction here and there, I'm just going to dwell on that. So this is what you have to look out for during your film process. Look at your actors, look at the cinematographers, look at the sound design, and look at the makeup artists. Don't forget, your job is not just the actors. This is what I just want to summarize. The job you have to do on set is not only the actors. The actors are just one part of filmmaking. Filmmaking has to do with all angles. It has to do with makeup, it has to do with lights, it has to do with costume, it has to do with hairdressing, it has to do with a lot of things. Are we together? So if you're looking the same way you're taking note of the actors, what they are doing, take note of the light designer. The same way you're taking note of the light designer, take note of the cinematographers. The way we are taking note of the cinematographer, take note of the sound designer. The same way you're taking note of the sound, make sure you're looking out for the continuity person as well. Are we together? Make sure that is the work of a director. That's the work of a filmmaker. Make sure that you go through all those things and they are all intact. Understand? That is it. Are we good? And with this, you would have a very effective production. You will not start something when it's already out. You'll be like, what is going on? Are we good? Now, this is where I'm going to wrap for today's class. And please feel free to ask any question. If you feel that you have a question concerning this, feel free to ask. You can drop your question in the WhatsApp forum as normal. I'm going to answer you. And then once you're done, you're good. So tomorrow, I'm going to go over to the last stage of the filmmaking process and then the next. All right. Good night, everyone. See you on the other side.